Good morning, everybody. This is Kula Dula from RawStocks. We have a heck of a show today. We're going to cover Palantir, SPY, or SBX, NVDA, and Tesla today. We're going to go over some of the most important levels of the day and break down our thoughts on what's coming. So stay tuned. Let's get into it. All right, so Palantir had a crazy sell-off here, and we are headed in towards that daily 50 here, and also into some of these lows that we bought off of this last time before this really rocketed. I love my daily 4. Closing underneath this under this level can give us some type of distribution insight. Well, we got a hell of a distribution yesterday, and I think the short-term bottom is coming. Okay, so that's going to be covered in just a little bit, but I also want to go over our sponsors real quick. That's going to be Black Box Stocks and GammaEdge. Without those guys, we would not be able to provide this to you every single day. So make sure you give them a quick shout out and go try their trials. Links are in the bio. Go check it out. I wanted to cover Palantir because today is the day that I think we could find some relative bounce today. You're going to see market data here. It shows us that a potential 155, 150 bounce could be in store here. There's a lot of shorts overhead here. Sure, if we break below 150, we could see some type of volatility event, but realistically, money is kind of stacking up into this 155 and 150 zone. You start looking into the next week, you start to pick up a little bit more upside, a little bit more positivity, but it still remains put dominated gamma conditions here. So what that means is as we move down into these targets, we can extend here as more dealer pressure is put on top of this. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Palantir have a bounce off of 155 up towards 165 here. Okay, so keep that in mind. That today you are bearish into Palantir. Unless you're over 155, you're looking for a push up towards potentially up to 165. At that point, I'd probably look to get short again and see if it wants to roll back over towards 155 or 150. Full complex does have a major support here at 140. So if you do see some type of event where we break below 150, that would be where I would hedge most of my bets for support at 140 here. All right, so let's get into SBX here. We have some key levels we need to take a look at here. Obviously, you want to mark the open of yesterday, the close of yesterday, the low of yesterday, the breakout here. And then these are going to be some levels. This is a key level right here at 63.89. We spent a lot of time at this level here. As you break this down, you're going to see there was a lot of consolidation here. We opened here. We had highs here. So watch this level right here, this 63.90 level, right? So if we do slip 6,400, watch for that level to play a role for a potential bounce into some level of intraday today. So we're going to go over the levels on SBX here. What we're seeing today is virtually, let me make sure we're opening right where I think we're opening. So it's right in this level near that 639. Yesterday's low was virtually 638 and a half. As we open up kind of near this level here, we're opening up in negative dealer pressure here. Okay, so this is a tricky zone, and realistically, I'll probably sit off of indexes until we really get towards 6,400 or into this zone here. You don't want to just get short and get obliterated by this thing running up and testing into that 6,420 zone. You're really realistically waiting for this thing to either fall back down towards 6,400, and you're going to make a decision whether you want to get long here and try to play that run up towards 6,420, or if it slips 6,420, guess what? we've got a move down to 63.75. Let's take a look at the data real quick. You're going to see a full complex. We're still call dominated here. We have that 6,500 level that remains there. We're seeing an extension into that 6,600 level now that is starting to grow. So keep that in mind as we pull back, that we're starting to finally see some extensions past that 6,500 level. That was not a huge, area until this pullback. Okay, so we're starting to see some extension levels that maybe people said, okay, we hit 6,500, let's get our pullback in, and then let's start looking for the position to extend past this. So is this our cool off before we extend? There's a possibility here. Okay, but we do know that we're starting to see 6,400 node pop up, 6,350. As of today, you're going to see a put dominated gamma condition in the S&P. That means there's overhead shorts here, and we're realistically looking for 6,400. If we snap 6,400, this is where we can start to press into that 6,380, 6,375 area that we were talking about. So that would emphasize that we get our gamma squeeze here to the downside, and this is going to draw us down towards this 6,380 level right here and 6,375. At this point, you can watch for at least a dead cat bounce if you're looking for something like that. Will we see this thing retest 6,400? Probably. Okay, but watch for maybe some strong sell. We test that strong sell area before maybe making that full move. Okay, so what I mean by that is, let's say for example we open and we sell all the way down to the middle of this range, right? And then it kind of chops and then it dips down towards our level that we're looking for. Well, then we come, and as soon as we hit this consolidation, it's probably going to roll back over, maybe make a new low, but it'll be bought up again. At this time, this is where you're really looking to see if this thing can make it to 6,400. But that's what we're looking at right here. I'm looking to go long at 6,400 and just a really tight stop to see if this thing wants to bounce and retest this zone. I will only do this if we sell down first before making that move back up. If we make that move back up towards that 6420 zone, watch for a short there to revisit back into 6400 and create a sub range of this floor here where we can start to chop all day. Okay, so watch for something like this. And if even something, it could be something like this. Okay, guys, so don't be surprised to see something like this. And then maybe that gives us our consolidation, and then we get the retest back into this further in the week. All right, wouldn't be surprised to see that. If we start to see a strong break through 6,400, there could be a potential to pull this thing back down towards say 6,300, but right now I'm not really seeing it. Okay, I'm not really seeing it, so we'll keep an eye on this and see how this reacts today. But you're short up into this 6420 area, 6425, looking for that to hold, and then you're looking to see it kind of come down towards this 6400 level, or if it wants to break below that, watch for the squeeze down towards that 6375 area. All right, moving into Tesla. Yesterday, if you guys didn't catch the pre-market prep, we talked about 340 being a resistance coming back into this range. We talked about how bullish we would be over 335. It virtually got the open and then really rocketed up here. But we talked about the supply areas of these days highs here. The open was here. And then I said we have a strong consolidation range. I said watch for this area to act as resistance, even though it really didn't say it on the dealer data. Yesterday, we saw it go right towards that, sell back down towards our area of positive support, positive gamma support, and then it lost it and went straight towards our negative gamma shelf. You can look at the candle closes here and look at the transition. It bounced, It held here for a second, and then it dropped back down towards our negative gamma shelf, and ultimately ended up losing this. And I think it's going to drive us down towards that 325 gamma wall at the open today. Now let's take a look at the data today to see what the plan is and how it's changed today. Okay, so 345 is now the ceiling. So we now have to adjust this right here to 345. We'll bring our gamma wall down here, and we have a transitional zone at 335. That remains the same. 332.5 gamma shelf, and realistically 325 is the downside, but do not be surprised to see us slip that and start making a move down towards that 320 to 315 area, bringing us back down into this low down here. All right, so that could bring us back down in this consolidation. I wouldn't be surprised if we bounce right off 320, which is the high side of this consolidation, or we're looking to pick the lows here towards that 315 low, or 315 visit, and see if we want to retest 320 and then potentially 325. Okay. All this being said, it's likely to find two different things here. We're going to find the early breakdown and find this, and then probably a late day recovery, or we're going to find ourselves probably chopping here for most of the day before we make some type of move back up on Tesla. I find it's probably more of a chance that we find a crack through 325 early, and then we push towards that 325 to 315 mark, and we get a recovery back over 320 and really test 325, and then we could even see data change throughout the day between 325 and 320. That's what I think is going to happen, but based on the data, what we have right now, the plan is that we would look at 325, see if it slips. If it slips, it's probably a good short for 320 to 315, but you need to be cautious of a strong bounce off of that 320 area right in this zone. Okay. NVIDIA. This was an interesting one yesterday for me personally. I didn't like the zone here. I talked about potentially buying the bounce at 180, but you needed to see it hold. Well, it got the bounce off of 180, didn't get the follow through, and it ended up slipping between our areas. Positive gamma support here at 180. It fell, it pushed all the way down to 177.5, and we talked about the potential move to 175 if 177 gave up, but I didn't see it growing below 175, and it didn't. But the new data today, are you ready? 170 pops up on this full complex, and I said, okay. I said, that's interesting. So now we have an extension down towards 170 that is possible, and this is the largest shift in NVIDIA options towards a neutral to bearish look. Okay, it is the largest shift towards that. It is still call dominated here, but this is the most bearish I've seen NVIDIA in quite some time as far as options go. It's been months since I've seen this, or at least probably a couple months since I've seen a read like this. Overhead shorts. And we have out of the money puts for speculation to pull us back down. So this expands down towards 175 today, or excuse me, 170 today. Let me adjust this, 170. Our gamma wall stands at 170. Let's make this right. And our negative shelf still remains at 177.5 and bullish supports here. Gamma wall is at 182.5. We'll lower this towards, it's probably going to be 180, but based on data, we'll leave it here. And watch for, right here where we're at, there's no great plays. The play here would be to go short, looking for it to drain towards 170, but wouldn't be surprised to see if you open at 175 here, it bounces towards 177.5. And at this point, this is your decision maker. Okay. This is where you could say, hey, I don't think we're going to get follow through to 180. I think we're going to get smacked on again, and we're going to run back down. If this happens, 170 on NVIDIA, then I would not be surprised to see us roll over on SPX towards our potential gamma squeeze target. Okay, so watch the S&P to follow NVIDIA, some of these big hitters, as they maybe hit some areas of weakness to slip that 6,400 level. Now, they're going to bounce off of this level. NVIDIA's going to bounce off this level, but what will that do to the rest of the stocks? You know, the S&P, I always talk about it, is the wind to the market. So if you're not paying attention to the S&P and to the NASDAQ, then you need to, because they are the wind to the market. All right. Okay, so that summarizes it. We went over Palantir, we went over NVIDIA, Tesla, and SPY, SPX today. So if you guys are interested in what we do, come take a look at us at RawStocksLLC.com. As RawStocksLLC.com, we have a promo going on right now for $7 for 7 days for new traders with us. You can visit at RawStocksLLC.com. I also have a link in my bio or the description here on YouTube, and you'll be able to join us and take advantage of the 7 days. You get full access. You get our live trades. We have 5 analysts. We have dealer data that we're analyzing constantly and coming up with plans. And also we have our Quant Viper algorithm trading system that we have going on right now, and it is really gaining traction. So guys, come take a look at it. And until next time, we'll catch you later.